Hey guys, it's Olivia and welcome back to Live in Literature. Thank you so much for all the love and support I received on my last video, and if you have not seen it yet, feel free to head over to my channel to check it out. Well guys, some of you answered in the comments from last week's video when I selfishly asked if I could do a video talking about BookTok.
Back to the computer. Oh my gosh, I'm such a nerd. Let's see if I got any new comments.
And giving you a BookTok rant and talking about the book community. So here we are today with my BookTok rant. And this video is really just going to be like a long conversation, and really it's just going to be mostly a TED Talk coming from yours truly, giving my thoughts and opinions about BookTok. I've got a notebook here full of some of my thoughts and like things and some research that I've done recently about BookTok and just like looking into it.
And according to my research,
I wanted to do this video because I feel like at this point in the reading community, you cannot escape BookTok.
You can't escape me. What?
BookTok is one of the things that drives the entire world of literature at this point. Like, BookTok is one of the driving forces that promotes literature, what's popular, what's not popular, what to read, what not to read. It's the driving force for many people. It's a career for some people. It's made people big on the internet. It's made people like care more about books, and it's just something that I want to talk about and give you guys like my own like just thoughts and opinions. This is just going to be kind of a long-winded rant and kind of like a podcast style of more like just me talking about my thoughts and my feelings about it. Again, if this video is not your cup of tea, check me back for the next one. I'll have more recommendations for you. But this one today is just honestly BookTok rant. I just wanted to rant about some things that I've been loving, some things that I've been hating, some things that bother me, some things that make me angry, but honestly just things about BookTok and like my thoughts and opinions on it. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, obviously, as you guys all probably have the app downloaded, I have TikTok. I love TikTok. I'm obsessed with TikTok. I'm on TikTok every day.
Did you know I'm utterly insane?
I'm scrolling on my FYP every single day, okay? I am getting that good content. A lot of it is book content because I particularly love books, but it's also makeup, fashion, hair, wigs, theater, movies, like all of it. I'm getting all of it on my TikTok. And TikTok has brought a community of people together. I'm specifically talking about the book community. I would say that like before TikTok and before BookTok or whatever, like bookish people or people who enjoyed reading, it was very much just like within your own inner circles. It was like, oh my gosh, like, do you have friends that enjoy reading? If not, you're on your own and you're just kind of like picking your own things. To be honest, like for the most part, like growing up, my mom was the one who like helped me find good books. And to be honest, I think I have excellent taste because of it. So thank you, Mom. You're the best. Love you for that one.
I want to thank my mother.
But seriously, I think she like was the one who was like curating my taste. She's like, I've read this book, or like I read this when I was younger, or like I enjoyed this, or I've read this and I found things from authors that you like, and has helped me curate things to what I think you will like. And so my bookish interests were always curated by that. And then obviously as I got older, I was better at deciding those things for myself. And my biggest thing, what I would do, maybe this is super obvious and I don't even need to say it, but like I would find my author, whoever I was reading at the time, or author that I enjoyed, and I would try to find a book that like either that author had recommended, or I would check the backs of the books to see if an author that I liked had like read this book and had given it a review. So a lot of times it was like, for instance, like I loved reading Melissa Myers. She's the author of the Lunar Chronicles. I loved Melissa Myers. Obviously, Tahira Mafi. Who am I forgetting? Oh my gosh. Saba Tahir. Like any of those authors, I would just look for them on the backs of other books when I was looking in the YA sections and stuff when I was younger. And I would just like find if they had read that book and if they had reviewed it, and then I would read it. And usually like 9 times out of 10, I would love the book because I knew it was something that they enjoyed. And if they enjoyed it and I enjoyed their book, I knew I was going to enjoy this book. So that was kind of the way that I did things back in the day. Like I was kind of like, if my mom suggested it, if she got it for me, or if I discovered it myself with like the help of my authors that I enjoyed. But BookTok has essentially created a way to like find content creators to like specifically recommend books to you. And they're like, hey, I enjoyed these books. So if I enjoyed these books, you might enjoy, and you enjoyed those books, you might enjoy these books. And so it's almost like giving you like a personalized recommendation from like thousands of people all over the world. And not only that, but it made books popular again. Like I cannot tell you the kind of rush that books give people now that they didn't used to. Like, obviously, book people, like, are people who have enjoyed reading their entire lives. Like, it's never been the most popular thing. People are like, you read? Like, that's lame.
Ha! Gullible! Loser!
Now everyone's reading. Everyone is reading. It hasn't been like this since, I would say, like the late 90s, when J.K. Rowling was dropping another Harry Potter book. Like, and people were lining up out the door to get the next Harry Potter. Like,
hey, she's only interested in you because she thinks you're the chosen one.
But I am the chosen one.
we haven't had this kind of like traction and excitement for books in literally decades. Like, it's been decades. And now, all of a sudden, because of BookTok and because TikTok, people feel open enough to express their opinions and to like join a greater community. To be honest, I think the crux of it all started with SJM. Like, obviously, like, say whatever you want about Sarah J Maas, but like, she started it all. Like, because to me, when I was reading Sarah J Maas, I was reading her in like 2018, 2019. And so then when I got on TikTok and I discovered that, like, wait a minute, there is a whole community of people who have read this book series and know why it's the best series ever. Like, know why she's the best author of all time. And I had no idea that other people felt this way. I was just out here recommending her of my own dime and not getting paid for it, mind you. I was just out here recommending SJM to anyone who would breathe or go near me. And literally, I come to find out when I finally download TikTok that everyone already knows. Everyone has known this whole time.
I know! You know, I know, I got it. I got the concept.
And so I feel like because of Sarah, BookTok blew up and it created bookish communities of like the SJM girls, the Colleen Hoover girls, the Stephanie Garber girls, like the, like just these are the people, the Anna Huang girls, like they created like these groups of communities of people and girls and boys alike that like enjoyed this kind of literature. And for that, I'm grateful. I'm so grateful that like, it's kind of nice to know you're not alone in the world and that you're not the only one. So I kind of wanted to go in like a positives and then negatives like category for BookTok. Obviously, I've mentioned a couple of them already. My positives for BookTok were that like, it's created a sense of community. Like, people now no longer feel like they have to like kind of hide what they like to read. Like, they're kind of just out here. And that's something that I love, is that the girls are being bold. The girls, the gays, the theys, the hims, the thems, like all of them are just being bold about what they like to read. Like, everyone's just kind of like, yeah, I enjoy reading fantasy, whatever, and I like this specific trope and whatever. And some people are like, oh, I like reading dark romance and I like this specific trope. And I like that we're all just kind of like laying it out on the table and we're just kind of like not backing down from what we like to read anymore. Like, we're just like opening up to anyone who wants to join. So that goes into like more normalized reading. Obviously, like I talked about, like BookTok blew the world out of proportion. Reading has gone up exponentially. I was reading a statistic online that like apparently in Canada, like reading went up, or reading books went up to 80%. Like, it was, I don't know what percentage it was before, but it was like, I think it went from like 40 to 80%. Like, it jumped 40% than it was. Like, people go to the bookstores now. People are online ordering books constantly. Like, people want to read. People are like, what's the hubbub about BookTok? I want to know what's going on over there. Why is everyone so up in arms about this, this, and this, and this? And for good reason, because for those of us who've been reading a long time know what has been the big deal. We've known what the big deal is this whole time, is that books are awesome. And I'm trying not to sound so nerdy and geeky when I say this, but like, books are amazing, and that they create worlds that we get to like disappear into, and it's beautiful and it's magical, and you fall in love with people and you go on adventures with these people and you just like can't help but become a part of their world. And we've known this the whole time, that those of us who have been reading since we were kids have known this all this time. And now people are starting to get a clue, thanks to BookTok. So thank you, BookTok, for those ones. Something that I do really appreciate about BookTok is the book recommendations. Now, this also can be a negative, but I'm gonna start with the positives part of this. The book recommendations have been out the wazoo. Like, I'll never be able to like not have a recommendation. I can always, if I ever don't know what to read, I can always go online to go to BookTok and be like, what is everyone else reading? What are my favorite content creators reading? What are they reading these days? And I can go and I can find new things. And it also gives me an opportunity to branch outside of my general genres that I enjoy. Because normally I'm a fantasy girl, but like recently, like even just this summer, like I saw someone like online give a review for Flawless by Elise Silver and talk about cowboys and stuff. And I was like, I don't know about this, but you know what? I'll pick it up. I'll give it a go. And literally now it's cowboy summer. It's horny cowboy summer, and I'm eating up the cowboys. I'm loving cowboy romances. Ain't no love in Oklahoma, just a whistle of a long black train. And I never would have known that unless I had seen someone's review being like, girl, get in on cowboy romances. So honestly, like, BookTok just gives us an opportunity to like explore other genres and like take advice from other people and like people that you trust. And hopefully for you guys, like, I'm a reliable source for you, and that the books that I recommend, you're like, well, I know I can trust Olivia because she has good taste and I trust her. And that's what I want from this channel, is that I want you guys to be able to trust me and be able to trust my recommendation because I'm a reliable source based on the things I'm recommending. And I would hope, that's the hope, that all BookTok creators are like that. Now, let's get into the negatives. This is why we all came here, is to hear my book rant about the negatives of BookTok. Okay, let's start with the first one. My first one is that like, I feel like because of BookTok, which we all knew this was coming, because we can't just normalize serving fantasy. Like, I just want to serve fantasy respectfully. I want to serve book respectfully. And I feel like I can't serve it respectfully without getting made fun of.
Can we just serve respectfully for 1 second? Just for once in your damn life.
And that's where you get into Judgement Zone. That's where you get into people judging BookTok. And this is what I wanted to rant about, is that like, now, because of the standard that BookTok has created and the stigmas that come with it, which, to be honest, a lot of those stigmas have to do with romance reading and a specific type of romance reading, and the specific type of romance reading that some of us, including myself, enjoy. It's now created a stigma that people like to make fun of and be like, oh, if you find a girl who reads books, she crazy, she a freak. Well, yeah, I'm crazy, and yeah, I'm a freak, but you don't need to make fun of me for it. Like, I feel like there's just a lack of respect and decorum, and that pisses me off. I hate that people think now, just because I enjoy reading a little fantasy book, I enjoy reading a little fantasy romance, I enjoy a little romantasy, I enjoy a little smut, I enjoy a little good time. Like, that people think now, they're like, well, you're just like, you're depraved, you're a freak, you're a weirdo, like, you're not normal, you don't understand, like, you're just like not a real, like, you're not a real human being because you enjoy those kinds of things. It almost gets on that level of like, there's a lack of humanness almost, of just like, well, you're a depraved freak, so honestly, like, stay away from you. Listen, like, I just think that that's, first of all, so uncalled for, and it honestly pisses me off because now, finally, after so many years, after years of just like sitting in the dark, and all the girlies are reading SJM and enjoying it because we finally are reading books about fae men and women that are respectful, kind, who treat each other as equals and as partners in this life, and they're so good to one another. And we finally are seeing like, oh my gosh, healthy relationships between lovers or whatever, between men and women and women and women and men, and they're just like so respectful and wonderful to each other. And guys are all being like, you just like to read the smut, you just like to read and you're a depraved weirdo freak. I'm like, no, I actually just like to read books about people who are good to one another, who are kind to one another, who treat each other with respect and love and admiration. And yeah, does it get really fun and sexy times? Abso-freaking-lutely. And do I eat it up every single time? Abso-freaking-lutely. And why can't I? I am just a girl. Why can't I enjoy a little romance without people being like, you're a depraved sexual weirdo?
Why? 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 Why?
I just like, and this one's a shout out to the girls specifically, because as a girl, I can only speak from my own experience. To the girls, this one's for you. I just want women to feel like they can express themselves in whatever they want to, sexually, not sexually, whatever. And I just hate that like the gross and depraved men online think like, oh, women who read books are total freaks and they're just like all about their blah, 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 blah. They're depraved sexual weirdos. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's because we've never experienced like the kindness and gentleness and the love and respect and the sexual prowess of a real man before. And therefore we have to go seeking into our books to find it. I'm just like sick of people making fun of the girlies for having their little secret things and their secret little like books that they like. Guess what? Some of us just like to enjoy some nice smut every now and again. And some of us just like to enjoy men being respectful and good in books and being fun and crazy or whatever. And we don't get to experience that in our real lives. And I hate that people are being made to seem like bad guys because of it. And I don't like that.
I can't stand it anymore, Lois. I'm gonna put a stop to this.
sorry, that was a very aggressive rant. I just want to be like, again, like I said, I want to serve book respectfully. I want to serve fantasy respectfully. I'm sick of it being cringe. I'm sick of it being like an ick or whatever. I'm like, I just want to serve respectfully and for people to just like get it and be like, yeah, I get it. And like not make it cringe though, you know? Then we get into my next negative of BookTok. Now, as I stated earlier, with book recommendations, there are positives and negatives. Yes, BookTok provides a wide plethora of book recommendations. There's tons of books you can read, but that doesn't mean you should read all of them. And this is what kind of pisses me off, is that you slowly realize that not everyone has the same taste as you, has the same standards as you, and has the same like level of decorum in books as you.
I'm right, you're wrong, shut up.
You find out that other people in the book community like just don't have the same taste as you, and therefore they're going to think that some books are amazing and they're going to think that some of your books are terrible. And it just, you know, and people get so up in arms about it. And I try to not let it bother me when people are like, that book that you like is terrible. That book that you like is bad. Like, I freaking hate that book. And you know what? It's just your own opinion at the end of the day. It's just your own opinion. And that's why you have to like so carefully find your content creators that you know and trust and be like, well, they liked all of these books. And if they like all of these books, then I'll probably like whatever they recommend. Like, you have to be so careful with who you're picking from and who you're taking your information from, because like, otherwise you're going to get bamboozled and you're going to be like, TikTok lied to me? What the heck?
So you're a liar.
And now, do we sometimes get swept away in like the TikTok uproar and like when things go viral and people go crazy? Yes. Like even for instance, something that's going viral right now on BookTok is the book Quicksilver. I literally just ordered it because I'm like, you know what? I kind of want to see what the hype's about. And so sometimes you read bad books because of the hype. But you know what? Sometimes you read amazing books because of the hype. So it's a positive and a negative. I will say that I do feel like the recommendations, like, you really have to be so careful. Sometimes I feel like people just don't recommend very good things, and there's so much good things to read out there. But that's just my own opinion. And so I do think that you just have to like really curate, like, who are you listening to? Who are you watching to give you your information? Then we get into, this is just more of like a niche topic of like BookTok. I feel like because BookTok has blown up so much and people are so involved in it and know so much about it, like, I feel like we've lost some of like the charm and the intimacy of books. And I don't think that's totally true. I just think it's like can be a little bit true sometimes. There are many times where I see like the cottagecore like aesthetic and the book reading and like the quiet little corners and the people like reading their books quietly in their corners and just like enjoying the world building and all of that. And there is that, but also like there's the crazy, eccentric, like wild part of books and stuff, and that I love. But I just feel like sometimes because BookTok has gotten so big, our worlds have gotten bigger, and so it kind of lacks like the small private like moments that books used to have. I feel like books were like kind of like which I would still say that books are my like quiet little safe haven and like a place where I disappear to and like to go to because it's so fun and entertaining, and like I fall in love with people every day because I'm reading books and stuff. So like I do think it has that, but I just think because BookTok has gotten so big, it like lacks kind of like the small little intimacy that you had with your books when your world was a lot smaller before TikTok.
Well, you got me. By all accounts, it doesn't make sense.
But I'm also grateful for it. So like there are pros and cons, like I said, to like that part of it. And I just feel like sometimes like because BookTok has gotten so big, our like intimate moments with our books have gotten like few and far between. But I still think it's possible, and I still think the books provide that place for people. I just feel like sometimes it's hard to like find it again because BookTok has made everything so crazy, and we all got ADHD brain and brain rot brains now because of TikTok. And then finally, my last point is that like I do feel like BookTok has like sometimes my last negative basically is just kind of that like BookTok I feel like has now like it lacks a certain depth. And maybe that's like what I'm trying to achieve like by doing a YouTube channel. I tried doing BookTok on TikTok, and I'm still going to try to keep doing it because like I really do enjoy making like short form content. Like I really enjoy myself in like short form, which is great. But I also think that like because BookTok there's not enough time to like get into the depth of like what you're discussing. There's a lack of depth there. And so I feel like to me these books that I'm reading like reach so far inside my soul that I like cannot convey the depths of which they are like speaking to me to an audience on TikTok. And I feel like people on TikTok cannot express that. I feel like here on YouTube, like I can express that because like it's long form content. Like you're watching me for like anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes basically. And so you can have time to like really express yourself and how you're actually feeling about it. Like I just feel like there's a lack of like depth on BookTok, which is fine because honestly, I'm mostly on BookTok just to like find the recommendations, to be like, okay, she recommends this one, I'll probably go pick that up tomorrow, and then I can come on here and express my feelings to you guys, if that makes any sense. And so I feel like that's why I'm so glad that like, honestly, because of BookTok, and here's a positive, here's another one, here we go, is that because of BookTok, like book clubs are a thing again. Like I'm a part of like 3 different book clubs. Like long form content is like coming back because people want to talk for longer about their books. And I will say that like book podcasts are a thing now. I see so many of my favorite content creators who now like have book podcasts where books are talked about openly. And so I just love that like this niche world that was so like, the short form content can be so fast and can feel so like lacking in depth. But then there's the other side of it where like, well, now there's other content creators who do podcasts and do YouTube videos and who do like longer videos to really explain their feelings about a book. And not that everyone always wants that, but like it's something that I enjoy sometimes hearing from someone. And I feel like the most genuine reactions to books are always the ones that I'm most excited to read and to like really know how you felt about that book. So to kind of wrap up my conclusion on my BookTok rant and my TED Talk, basically, I think BookTok has done so much for the community. It's essentially like expanded it beyond anything that it's ever been. Like, I just genuinely don't think without BookTok, I don't think we ever would have gotten back to a place like where we were in the 90s with J.K. Rowling and the Harry Potters and the standing outside the door waiting. Like, I went, literally just this year, I went to my first like book party like at a Barnes & Noble. It was the opening night of House of Flame and Shadow. And it was, there are people there everywhere. Like, everyone was so excited for the release of this book. Like, and to me, it felt like the biggest thing, like the biggest thing in the whole world, to be at this premiere for a book. Like, it felt like midnight premieres again, and going to the midnight premieres for a movie. Like, it felt like the midnight premiere of a book was like the most important thing to me. And I love that we're like getting back to that. We're getting back to like books are fun and like it creates a fun community, and that like people, because of BookTok, like now the community is so big and like everyone's reading and it's more normalized, and like reading is fun for everyone and everyone can do it and everyone can participate. And we have a place where we can find recommendations and like a community of people who like agree with you and probably disagree with you. But then there's the negatives that also come with it: a lack of intimacy, a lack of depth, a lack of like decorum online, people being rude and mean and bullying online and like harassing people for what they like and what, you know, and the things that they're into. So to wrap it all up, I am really grateful for BookTok. I feel like we've lost some things with BookTok. We've lost kind of like the smaller moments and the more intimate moments of book reading, but I'm also don't think there's any way that we can go back down from this. Like, I think we're only headed forward. So yes, BookTok has its pros, has its cons. There are things I love about it. There are a lot of things I hate about it. I do think that like people need to like, I just think that people like, I think it's hard when you find out that not everyone has the same opinions as you. And that's not a bad thing. It's just a thing that can be kind of buggy sometimes. So there are pros and cons to the whole like BookTok rant, but in the end, I do know that like I enjoy BookTok for what it is. I also hate it sometimes, but I love it for the most part. But I am happy to be here with you on BookTube and YouTube, talking to you every day in my long form content about books, because I feel like I can really share the true depths of like how I'm feeling about books. So thank you so much for joining me today here on the channel. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the Living Literature YouTube channel. If you want to see more rants about different topics about BookTok or in the book community, I would love to hear them. And like I said, guys, like whatever you decide to do, whatever you like, whatever you love or hate about BookTok, like I hope that you feel like you can share it in the comments below. I both love and hate it. I think it's wonderful. I think it's amazing, but I also think it's got its flaws and it's got its problems, just like everyone. So thank you so much for letting me rant about BookTok today, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. I will catch you in the next one. I love you the most. I'll see you later. Bye.